So at this point, these mini braids have been in for about 2 weeks. So I'm going to show you guys how I maintain them. Let's go. So one of the most common questions that I get when it comes to mini braids is how do I keep them flat? I got the funniest comment the other day. Someone said that when they do their braids, the next day they look like spiders, and I just can't unsee it. It's so funny to me. So I'm going to show you guys that in the end, how I tie my hair up. So if you want to fast forward to that part, I'm going to show you in the end how I actually tie these up at night to prevent them from lifting at the roots. But for now, I'm showing you guys exactly what I do every day to make sure that these mini braids look nice every day. So of course you got to start out with the edges, and I'm using my Effortless Edges Edge Control. I'm just going to lay them down a little bit, and I am loving the fact that I didn't leave out a lot of baby hair when I actually styled these. If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to link it right here, because it'll show you exactly how I got this style in the first place. Like I said, these are 2 weeks old. So I'm doing my baby hair. But when I first styled these, I didn't leave a lot of baby hair out because that tends to age your style like a lot. So I braided as close to my hairline as possible without it looking ridiculous. I put my first braid very close to my hairline so that I didn't have a lot of baby hair out. And I feel like this has helped me to keep this style looking nice and fresh. So some of my baby hairs naturally are starting to peek out at this point. So I'm just laying those down so that they don't make the style look frizzy in the front. Now, another thing when it comes to maintenance, you want to make sure that you're mapping out exactly what week you're doing what to your hair, right? So what I like to do is I like to plan out how I'm going to wear this for the entire time that I have these braids in. So what I mean by that is, so for these first 2 weeks, I have worn my hair pretty much down and flat the entire time, except I will put a claw clip in every now and again. But when I do my claw clip, I'm making sure that my ponytail is very low. That way my roots are not lifting too much. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is, once you put your hair in a ponytail or you lift your hair up in any type of style, you kind of have to commit to that, and your roots, it's going to be really hard to get your roots to flatten out after that. So what I do is I save those kind of styles for the last week or 2 weeks of the hairstyle. That way I can still enjoy it while it's flat. And then once they kind of start to look older, that's when I start to wear my different styles. So moving on, now that we've done the edges, I'm going to go ahead and put some Max Hold Styling Jelly on the ends of my hair. And I got a really good question the other day regarding the loose ends on braids. The person asked, doesn't it open you up to damage if you leave your ends loose? And I think she was particularly asking this because it was on the video with my daughter, and I left a lot of her ends loose. And she's like, doesn't that kind of open you up to damage? And I don't find that it does. I think that's mainly because I always have the ends defined, and I usually define them with gel or mousse. And so that kind of leaves a cast on your hair. And when your hair is not moving so much and it's not loose, then your hair doesn't have the opportunity to tangle up because it's not moving, and it does have a cast on it. So it hardens it up a little bit and keeps it in its form. Now, when your hair is loose and you don't have anything defining it, I feel like that does kind of open you up to damage. But even then, not so much with these individual plaits like this, because the plaits kind of, or the braids, whatever you call them, mini braids, it keeps your hair separated. So as long as your hair is not in a big mass, when you don't have your hair in a big mass, like a loose puff or, loose ponytails, or just have your hair down in general, when your hair is not in that mass and it doesn't have anything else to curl, your curls aren't able to combine and tangle up together, then you're good. So this style is still protective even with the loose ends, and I always leave my ends loose because I like the feminine touch that it gives the braids. And if you'll notice, I am not putting any type of wet products in my hair, like the bulk of my hair, because I don't want these to shrink up. I find that especially for my hair type, I have a really tight curl, so I avoid getting these wet at all. I don't wash them. I don't put mousse in them when I want them to stay in a stretched state. Now, there are times when I want my hair to shrink up and it makes it look better, or that's just what I'm going for. That's not what I'm going for this time. So I didn't put anything on the length of my hair, just on the ends. And that's my little claw clip style. Y'all, I'm so geeked about having this claw clip. Go get you a small claw clip. If you have short hair, go get a small claw clip, and we can rock all of the styles too. We just gotta, get a little creative and find what works for us. All right, y'all. So now I'm gonna show you exactly how I keep my braids flat. We do not want spider legs over here. That is gonna be ingrained in my head. Y'all are hilarious to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm pretty much undoing my hair, and I have this little swoop here. So I'm going to take that down. But the main thing you want to think about when you're trying to keep a section of hair flat is how you set it is how you get it. And I always say that. So when you're going to sleep, you want to make sure that you are pinning these down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stretch these out, and I'm going to put some bobby pins on my roots to keep my roots flat while I sleep. So if you notice, if you do these braids, you'll notice that when you wake up the next day is when your roots are lifted. And that's all because you probably slept in a bonnet, and the bonnet doesn't hold your hair down. So you sleep in a scarf or a bonnet, or, sleep with your hair out, and your roots are lifted up while you sleep, and then you're laying down on them and it's setting in that position. So we want to make sure our roots don't lift in our sleep. So we're just going to put these bobby pins on there like so. And make sure you get it on there nice and snug. So the only part of my hair that I really care about being flat is this little bang. So as you see, I do put my claw clip in my hair, and it kind of lifts my roots in the back, but I'm okay with that because it just adds a little bit more volume, and it makes it it gives it a nice little look. So I'm okay with that, but I need the front to be flat. So after that, I'm just going to put my durag on, and I'm using a durag because the durag does a really good job of holding it down flat. It's not, I feel like when you use a scarf, I don't know if you've ever had a scarf on and it lifts up just a little bit. I need this to keep my roots flat, and this is more or less like a cap. So it kind of, works like a cap or a hat to keep your hair laying flat. So that is it, y'all. Honestly, that's how I keep them nice and flat, is just pinning them down at night this way and not letting my hair get wet. But that is it for this time. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.